Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of the Extremely Non-Extreme podcast. Some of our past episodes have featured two guests with me moderating. Today takes that a step further, as this podcast is hosting its first political debate of sorts between a Democratic candidate and a Republican candidate. XP Lee, who won a three-way Democratic primary on August 12th, and Republican Ruth Bittner are running against each other in Minnesota Legislative District 34B. This is a special election necessitated by the assassination of Melissa Hortman. The election will be held on Tuesday, September 16th, 2025, and that's less than a month away, as I'm sure you're both well aware. Ruth Bittner is a newcomer to politics, having never held public office, a lifelong resident of this area, a food science graduate of the University of Minnesota, and currently a real estate agent. Ruth and her husband are the parents of two adult sons. XP Lee was a member of the Brooklyn Park City Council from 2022 to 24. He grew up in Fresno, California, and attended college in South Carolina before moving to the Twin Cities. He is a health equity strategist for the Minnesota Department of Health. XP and his wife have a 6-month-old. Now, I want listeners to know that I have not shared my questions with either candidate, so you should not hear canned answers from these candidates. And as always, with the Extremely Non-Extreme podcast, I am publishing the complete conversation unedited. So let's get started. First of all, I will ask XP, why are you running for this seat in the Minnesota legislature?
Yeah, again, like you said, and everybody is aware, the tragic, devastating loss of Speaker Emerita Melissa Hortman and her husband, really hit hard, hit home. I live, just a few houses down in the neighborhood, and folks contacted me and asked if I was going to run. They thought I would make a great candidate. I had conversations with my wife, my family, friends, other folks, advisors, right? And decided that the work has to continue. The work that she fought so hard for, that the DFL had gained in recent years. And I am a great candidate to take up her legacy. To take community-centered leadership, compassionate leadership to the Capitol with me, to work with the caucus, to be able to continue to expand our work and to help all Minnesotans. So I decided to throw my hat in to the race and was able to put together a great team. And now here we are, heading into the special election, able to get the DFL endorsement, win the primary, and keeping the momentum going.
Ruth, same question. What's your reason for running?
Yes, well, again, we do have to start by acknowledging the tragedy of losing Speaker Emerita Hortman. She is still well loved in the community, and it was just an evil act that took her life. And so we are all very shocked and saddened by that event. I chose to run, and similar to my opponent, you have to check it out with your family. You have to check it out with advisors, people around you. And I also was encouraged to run partly because I believe the voters in this district, well, obviously we need representation because our representative is no longer here. We need representation, and I also wanted to be a voice. I do want to represent this district, and I want to offer them a voice and a choice. I believe the reason why I wanted to offer a voice is because I think Minnesota has some room for improvement. I think with the fraud that's been going on, it's just a complete, more than a shame. It's really just really awful. And so we need to get that under control. I would want to elect the Office of the Inspector General because we need oversight in this area. So I believe the budget needs help, and I believe we need to get a handle on fraud. We need to get the money to the people who it should go to, not to fraudsters. I also think we have room for improvement in education. And that's putting it nicely, Minnesota nicely. We have to do some work there to improve the student outcome and setting them up for students for success. That's what it's really all about. And then lastly, we also need to get our safer, we need safer communities. So those are the reasons that I'm running.
Very well. And I'll ask you first the second question, which is, if you were elected, Ruth, do you expect to vote consistently with the leadership of your party?
Well, I will say that as a Republican, I am free to choose how I vote. I do believe that I'm an individual, and I will be a legislator who evaluates policy and does my research. So I will vote the way I feel is right to vote. I don't have people telling me what to do. I don't want to be a member of a group. I'm not going to vote in a block as a member of a group. I will be voting the way I see fit based on the district and the needs of the district.
XP, I'll ask you the same question. If you're elected, do you expect to vote consistently with the leadership of your party?
I would say not necessarily consistently. Definitely, go into the Capitol with my own sense of leadership, my own values, which I mean happen to align very well and a lot with the DFL platform. A lot of the other DFL caucus members as well had some, am having some great conversations with them. So I do feel like there will be a lot of shared values. So some of the voting will probably be consistent, but there are always going to be differences in approaches and styles and views. So I don't expect it to be absolutely consistent with the DFL caucus.
Okay, and I'll ask you both this next question, and starting with you, XP. Ms. Bittner brought up the question of fraud. And we hear a lot in politics nowadays about waste, fraud, and abuse. How can the state of Minnesota reduce waste, fraud, and abuse in state government?
Yeah, definitely. It is a concern. There's been some really large, high-profile situations that we've been hearing about, and those are definitely unfortunate. There is no room for fraud, and we really need to be able to do better to be able to manage our taxpayer money, to be able to make sure that they're effective and they're going to funding the programs and the folks that need the assistance as outlined. I think what we need to do is bring a task force together and really take a look at our grant making and administrative processes and provide a little bit more oversight to correct some of what has allowed for these fraud cases to happen recently. And we need to kind of get it back on track so that we can, have more confidence in the programming and the administration of these funds in the coming years. And then after that, keep it going, right? Don't get too comfortable or too relaxed. Make sure that we are on top of oversight and accountability, for our dollars, whether it's state or whether it's federal. We need to be able to work cohesively, again, to be able to make sure that these dollars are going to where they need to be going and being spent productively and constructively to help the folks that they should be it should be helping. So I will do what I can as a state rep to be able to help enforce and investigate and provide oversight on funds across the board for not just what's coming out of the legislature, but also the governor's office, the administration, and other state partners.
Ms. Bittner, you mentioned inspection processes. Tell us more about what you see the Minnesota State Legislature being able to do to reduce waste, fraud, and abuse in this state.
Mm-hmm. Well, part of the job of a legislator or of the legislature is to pass laws, make laws, set a budget, and then oversight. That's part of the job. And in the last session, we were not able to get the Office of the Inspector General approved in the last session by the House. And the Senate decided to do it, but for some reason the House decided to not go that route along party lines. And I think that is extremely important, especially when part of the job of the legislature is oversight. So I would definitely, approve that and vote for that. The Office of the Inspector General. Another thing, another concept that I think we need to consider is OPM. I don't know if you've heard of that, other people's money. I think it's something that we need to protect and we need to treat with great care because it's not ours, it's the people's, it's other people's money. Minnesota is a very generous state, maybe one of the most generous states with our social services and our aid, our Medicaid, and that's great. We can have that conversation if that's the right place where it's supposed to be. But even so, we do want to help the people that need help. That is Minnesota. We do that. To let it go out the window to fraudsters is just appalling. And it's, first of all, it's not getting to the people who need it, which is awful. Secondly, it's not being a good steward of other people's money. And then we're just allowing people to steal it right away from us. So that has to stop.
Let me ask a follow-up question having to do with money as well. Ruth, your thoughts on the level of state taxes we pay here in Minnesota, and how do you propose to handle taxes and spending?
Well, I'm not a fan. I don't think anybody really is, but I would be in favor of reducing taxes. Not long ago, we had an $18 billion surplus that got spent, and also we increased the budget by almost 40%. So I would not be in favor of that. If there's money left over, I want it to go back to the people. I would be in favor of doing what we can to reduce taxes because the tax burden is prohibitive. It's not fostering the economic growth and development that we need.
Mr. Lee, your thoughts on the level of state taxes in Minnesota, and taxes and spending go hand in hand.
Yeah, as a city council member and talking to folks, property taxes is definitely a big issue, especially as it's continues to increase, right? And folks continue to be able to have trouble, with their not being able to get their wages to be able to increase, at the same time to be able to have a good quality of life. So in terms of the first thing to look at really is the tax structure, and to be able to probably balance that as best we can within some of the federal structures that are also that are recently approved, looking at what the state can do, of course, to reduce spending, and then to increase efficiencies in the budget, and then asking the counties and the school boards and the cities to be able to do the same thing as much as possible. Take a look at everyone's budget to continue to operate lean. That's something that Brooklyn Park has a lot of experience doing, And we made some really tough decisions at the city council, when it comes to, trying to keep our property taxes, low, to be able to help support the quality of life for our residents. The other thing is also trying to be more creative in terms of where we can find revenue streams, right? So that's the other part of the equation, is that property taxes is just one set of revenue. So where can we also find other revenue streams? And something that I would really want to look into for the state is a value added tax, especially on high end commercial products and supply chains, and for luxury items. So in lieu of sales tax that would hit like everyone, a value added tax would be something that would be more skewed towards higher end items, where the market has more disposable income. So that would be something that I definitely would want to look into a little bit more as a creative solution to increasing our revenue.
Shifting gears, let's talk about social issues, non-financial issues. And I'll stick with you, XP. Are there any changes you would like to see the state make on social issues, such as abortion, gender, religion, or race?
Well, I think what we need to do is, as a state, be able to continue to stay the course. One issue that has come under attack a lot recently is, just the word equity. There's been a lot of work in equity before now, and there will be a lot of work that will continue under the term equity in the future. It just means that we're taking care of the people who need the most. There are other terms that you've heard: underserved, underrepresented. The census, uses the term hard to count. So these are populations from all backgrounds that need just a little bit, that much more than your average Minnesotan. How we do that in a way where, it's giving them what they need, and that's what I want to be able to stand up for in terms of social issues. Whether it's healthcare, whether it's education, whether it's public safety. That's something that I want Minnesota to be able to continue to stand up for in now and in the coming years. And it's unfortunate that that's even something that needs to be said. But in this political atmosphere, it is something that I will stand up for.
Ruth, same question to you. Are there changes you would like to see the state make on social issues like abortion, gender, religion, or race?
Well, I think our laws are sufficient. I think we do have protections in place for all the groups that you mentioned as far as religion and race. I don't feel that we need to make changes to our laws. As far as how we change how we approach them, I might have some differences. Things that I would like to see differently. I think that we don't want to be discriminating against anyone. And I think we need to, as I mentioned, I want to have conversations and not cancellations. And I want to avoid being in groups. So I really want to focus on us being fellow Minnesotans and just working hard to do that, just to realize what do we agree on, and let's focus on those things instead of the things that divide us. So that is something that I personally want to do as a representative of this district, is find ways that we can agree, find ways that we can get along. I mean, that sounds a little, I don't know, maybe simple, but it's true that I want to focus on our common, the things we have in common. One thing I would change, though, is a matter of policy, is that I don't believe that biological males should play on girls' sports.
All right. You want people to get along, Ruth, and common ground. So this may be the most difficult question of all. Is there a politician who you intend to emulate as far as style, tone, or approach? Who's your model politician?
Are you talking on a state level or any level?
Oh, on any level on this question.
Okay. Well, I'm going to show my true colors here, and it's going to be Ronald Reagan, and partly because he was very winsome. He was a likable person, and he had the greatest little anecdotes. He told great little stories, and he really had a great way with people. And in fact, he was the one that said, I think if we agree, if we disagree on 20%, we're still 80% friends, something like that. Anyway, and I love that sentiment. He also, changed the course of history with basically ending the Cold War, which I think was just fabulous. So that's more my era, and so I do have a lot of respect for President Reagan.
Very well. XP, do you have a politician in mind there that comes to mind that you'll emulate as far as style, tone, approach? I'm not talking about policies. I'm talking here about style, tone, and approach. Who's your model?
Yeah, it's hard to choose. But if I could put these two guys together, President Obama and Andrew Yang, who was a candidate for the 2020 presidential race. I see myself having President Obama's charisma and steadiness and commitment to hope and change in terms of really trying to build a broad base of support, focused on youth and young energy, to really try to infuse into our politics. And then Andrew Yang's really insightful tech based information, AI, just future forward thinking, creative solutions in terms of he's known for the universal basic income proposal, for giving every American a freedom dividend, which would be $1,000 a month for every citizen. And so there's so much insightful thought process and policy truths behind that I really enjoyed learning about. And he sort of came out of nowhere, really made a big statement, stuck to his principles and his values, and really did his best to really change the course of our conversation in that run. So I really appreciate him for that. So yeah, I would if I could put those two guys together, I would love to emulate that person.
Okay, is there something about your background, XP, that uniquely qualifies you for the Minnesota State Legislature?
Yeah, I point to my statewide programming and community engagement experience. Two examples in particular. working for, at that time, Minnesota Council on Foundations, and leading a statewide mobilization partnership, working with nonprofits and other partners, the State Demographer's Office, to engage communities throughout Minnesota, from the Twin Cities to Duluth, our tribal nations, down into the southern part of the state, to really help us get out the count, which is really important, right? Because for census data, if you're not counted, then you're not seen. And if you're not seen in the data, then census data affects so much financial decisions, healthcare decisions, of course, government data decisions, right, that are affecting your communities, and then they don't have the right numbers, right? If you're not counted, you're not getting as much money as you should be, and you're not getting as much support as you should be back to your communities. So that was really important for us, and it really worked. We were able to keep our 8th congressional seats by like 20 something people. So it was such an amazingly slim margin. Every person counted in Minnesota in 2020. So that was a great experience. The other one was being able to work on the 2020 pandemic response here in Minnesota. I was, became a community COVID coordinator lead, working with a few Asian Pacific Islander organizations that helps to engage Asian Pacific Islander communities in the metro, but also in greater and rural Minnesota. So in many of the same places that I went to do engagement for census, I helped these organizations do engagement and help to give out information and resources, testing kits, as well as set up vaccine clinics, pop-up vaccine clinics for folks and communities around the state. So that gives me a really, really great insight into working with state level programs, also state level funding. And of course, we worked with different legislators to be able to get out information and to get their support, and really give me that foundation of how important state programs are to just everyday folks, everyday Minnesotans all across the state. So I point to those two major experiences as really uniquely what sets me apart and gives me the experience to be able to be state representative.
Ruth, your background, experience, special abilities that you have, something that qualifies you for the state legislature.
Well, I begin by just saying that I think it's partly my personality, and my personality is one to bring people together. And I do want to work with people. I want to work with people who may not necessarily agree with me. That is very important to me. So that is part of my answer. The other part would be my experiences. And I would say, I started as a food scientist. I worked at Land O'Lakes, and I was in research and development. And so I did learn to research. And I am able to study and get to the heart of the matter, to understand issues now. I don't study processed cheese anymore, but I do study issues. And so I do have that ability to research, and I would also make decisions based on the research, based on the facts and the evidence, and not on advocates or opinions. Also, my next career was a small business owner. So I understand what it takes to run a business, and that is my entrepreneurial spirit, I guess. I know how to manage employees. I also know how to budget. I know how to import things from other countries. So I learned a lot of things in that experience. And then now I am a real estate agent, which I have learned how to negotiate. And I also work with people, and that is my job. I negotiate, I solve problems, I get things done. So I do believe that those experiences have given me the skills that I need to be a good legislator in the House of Representatives.
Do we have a serious crime problem in this District 34B? I live in the district as well. Do you see a serious crime problem, Ruth? And if so, what can the legislature do to help?
Well, yes, there is a crime problem. Um, it has been improved, which is good, but there's still a lot more to do. And funding is an issue. And this is an area where I believe we need to increase funding. You know, I am fiscally conservative and I generally like to limit our spending, but this is one area where I do believe we need to increase our spending because safety is so important. And we definitely need to get a handle on this. I did talk to Chief Bruley in Brooklyn Park, and I actually did talk to um, the other police chiefs in Coon Rapids and Champlain as well. So I got a sense of what the needs are in the community. And I know that the local government aid is very important. So we need to keep that consistent so they can plan on it. I understand it kind of goes back and forth and it's not always there, but we need to make sure that it's there for them. Recruitment is also a problem, and we need to find some ways to increase recruitment. We need to make it more attractive for people to pursue a career on the police force. There's also some technology that I understand using drones that could be very effective in helping stop crime and getting to the scene very quickly. Is something that I would make a high priority to make sure that that gets funded for our police departments.
XP, what's your assessment of the crime problem in our district and what the legislature can do to help?
Yeah, I think to address your question, is there a serious problem? Um, I don't think it is as serious as it may seem. You know, all of the data points to a really low drop in violent crime, and Brooklyn Park in particular. You know, crime overall. Even violent crime is at a very low point. Um, Part of it, if you talk to any Brooklyn Parker, which is a majority of the district, you know, there is an unfortunate reputation that Brooklyn Park isn't able to really shake, and that is unfortunate. No matter how much our the city's communications team or the police department, which is a really great police department, one of the best in the state. Um, no matter how much community engagement they try to do, there's just always that reputation that kind of lingers, whether it's in the news or in some of the residents. So that is an unfortunate thing that we still have to deal with. Um, but that's not to say, of course, that there isn't crime, right? And that there aren't serious crimes, happening, and that folks, of course, um, um, aren't feeling the impact. They are, and it's real and it's raw, especially when violent crimes do happen near or close to them. Of course, speaking from example. Um, so all that trauma is real, and it's lasting, and we need to be able to come together as a community to continue to heal, to continue to address the issue of crime. So definitely continue to support our law enforcement, um, uh, like whether it's police department or whether it's a Hennepin County Sheriff's, or whether it's State Patrol, to be able to make sure that they have what they need in terms of, not just supplies but also training, to be able to handle violent criminals. We need to address our gun laws, to be able to um, hopefully have more, again, what's called red flag rules to be able to alert authorities, to potential folks that might be a harm to themselves, or others, and then also have at the state level be able to, just support the overall comprehensive, again, approach of working with law enforcement individuals, cities, and community groups, and families, and even schools. So, for example, the city of Brooklyn Park has a reimagining public safety strategy that they have adopted. It's based off of a cities united document, and it's a very comprehensive strategy. That again includes all these different parts of our communities. So I think if we could adopt something like that at the state level, to again really focus in on a comprehensive strategy to crime prevention and reducing violent crime, then that would be the best approach.
That's the issue of crime. Let's move over now to the issue of education. K through 12 education in particular, I think, is one of the things that the state legislature has a lot of say in. Mr. Lee, how can we improve K through 12 education in Minnesota? Or does it need improving?
Yeah, it definitely needs improving. Working with teachers and other professionals and administrators to really address standards testing and achievement disparities. Those exist at different levels, but definitely at socioeconomic levels and some racial populations. So addressing those disparities is something that we should try to focus on, and again strengthening the triangle of school and home and community. Everything really takes a comprehensive approach to be able to allow for our students to succeed at the K through 12 level. Something that I definitely want to help support is early childhood education. This is on the home front to allow for parents to be able to support their children in the early years of development and education. Those first few years are really critical for them to be able to set up the foundation of getting to school and then to be able to succeed at school. So that's something that, again, we can work with parents and community organizations to be able to support. So then that feeds into the schools. And then, of course, we want to support schools so that teachers can teach so that, what we can do is try to reduce class sizes, try to increase teacher retention and pensions and pay, try to increase a focus on some after-school programs and maybe some other alternative ways to activate school buildings over the summer. And then, of course, making sure that we're lining opportunities up for students to be able to succeed after school, whether it's higher education, whether it's trade school, whether it's some sort of entrepreneurial pathway. We give scholarships to go to college, right? So let's give scholarships in other creative ways to start a business or to go to trade school or some of these other opportunities that are available to youth nowadays.
Ms. Bittner, how can we improve K through 12 education if it needs improving in Minnesota?
Well, I think it's clear that we need some improvement. The education is a large part of the state budget. It's about a third of it, from what I understand, and so it bears work. We need to work on this. I do believe, though, that the answers are going to lie locally, and my goal would be to really work on partnerships with our school districts in our legislative district, because they are the ones who are going to know the solutions better than we are. I really want to find local solutions, and I do believe that home is where education starts. So that is a priority, that we need to cultivate that idea and foster that that mindset and help students be successful when they get to school. I also believe that our teachers are great. They are heroes, and we need to encourage that. But we have to take a hard look at what's working and what's not working. We've spent a lot of money. We continue to spend a lot of money, but the results are just not there. So we just have to figure it out. Not blaming, not looking for, to blame people, but just find the solutions. And that, again, is why I want to be a problem solver, and I want to get to the heart of the matter. Now we have to be flexible. Maybe there's not a one fixed solution for everybody, and maybe we have to be flexible. And, again, the idea and the goal is student success. So student success in school, but then out or after they graduate as well. And I do believe that college is for some, trades are for some. It's not, again, the same solution for everyone. So we have to be mindful of that, but the end result is that we want students to succeed so that they can have a successful life.
Okay. The name Melissa Hortman has been brought up by all three of us tonight, and it is the seat that she held for several terms that is being contested in your election next month, September. Starting with you, Ruth, how do you see yourself as being similar to or different from Melissa Hortman, our last district representative here?
Well, I'll say that's a tough question to answer, because she was a unique individual, and she was very successful in what she did. And so I hesitate to even compare myself to her out of respect. So I just want to preface my comments with that, because I don't want to try and compare myself to her. But I will say that I do believe that I'm a person who can work with people and who can reach across the aisle. She had to make some hard decisions to get things done. That's what a negotiator does, and that's what compromise is all about. I do believe that I am similar in that way. I also like to laugh. I like to have a good time. So perhaps that would be another way that I would want to be similar to her.
XP, how will you be like or different from Melissa Hortman?
Yeah. First of all, she was a Democrat, so I am. That's why I went for the DFL endorsement. That's why I won the DFL primary, and I am running as a Democrat. And she was a fierce leader, compassionate. Fought. With every strategic move and calculated maneuver that she was able to muster at the state capitol, to help Minnesotans, and I'm going to bring as much passion and smarts and experience as I have into that role as state rep. Of course, I'm not going to be able to fill her shoes. I've had many great conversations with folks who have been close to her, and I think everybody realizes that. But at the same time, they want me to bring the passion for the work, for the hustle, the dedication to the constituents, to the community, to working with a broad coalition of support, working with Republicans, independents, working with other partners and organizations. I definitely am committed to doing that. I myself have won because I have a broad base of support, a really deep grassroots base of networks that have been really just tremendously supportive. So I appreciate all of them. And again, I look forward to taking that to the Capitol to follow in her footsteps of fierce leadership and strong advocacy in my own flavor. And I will note that, of course, you know, uh, uh, she um, um, she has had her own style, and the thing that really I think I connect with is just her voice for, again, equity. She stood up for that as much as she could, paved the way for a lot of new young leaders in the Democratic Party, in the DFL. I saw that, and I look to continue her efforts in that vein as well.
My last question then will be if there is anything that we'll start with you, Mr. Lee, that you haven't said tonight that you really want our viewers, listeners to know, but I haven't asked it, or any response to anything that Ms. Bittner has said. I'll give you 2 minutes tops, and then I'll do the same with Ruth Bittner.
Sure. I think something that we didn't get a chance to talk about, I mentioned it a little bit, but is healthcare. There are big federal budget cuts coming down, looming, that we're going to have to deal with in the next session or two. And I want to be able to, again, go to the Capitol to be able to mitigate those cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP, other health programs and funding, possibly as much as possible to make sure that Minnesotans are protected. Minnesotans keep their health care as much as we can, and Minnesota is able to continue to serve, again, the underserved, the ones that have the most need, like our seniors, our folks with disabilities, our LGBTQ folks, our children, our single parents, our low-income folks, as much as possible. That's one thing. Something else is, fighting for lower prescription drugs, helping our veterans maintain their health care as much as possible. There's just a lot to be done, and in partnership with, again, our counties and our other healthcare sector providers, insurers, and partners. Going in, working with the caucus and the DFL leaders to be able to mitigate that as much as possible. And one of my main goals is also to try to move Minnesota towards a healthcare for all, or some folks call it a single payer package. Again, that's going to take a lot more work and conversation with everyone who from different sectors and stakeholders to be able to make that happen. But I think that is something that needs to happen to be able to make sure that, again, every Minnesotan has access to affordable, quality, fundamental health care in Minnesota. So I will go to the legislature to really work and push towards that. Other than that, thank you so much for the opportunity. And folks can check me out, more information and how to donate and how to get involved with my campaign at my website, which is XP Lee, FORMN house.com. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I was going to ask both of you at the end to give the citations to your website. So, Ruth Bittner, you can have the last word here. Is there something I forgot to ask and you were hoping I would, or something you want to respond to or add to that was said tonight?
Well, I'll start out by saying thank you for the opportunity and thank you for your questions. So I can tell you did a good job thinking through things. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate the opportunity. What I didn't get to say, I guess, I don't know if there's something that you should have asked. You did a good job. I guess I just want to let people know that I am a hard worker, and especially as a realtor, I'm pretty much open 24/7. And so I'm used to work. I'm used to hard work, and I love it. And so I want to take that commitment to my work and also to the commitment that I have to my clients. I would take that to the Capitol. So I do want to be a voice for the people. I want to make sure that that is clear, because I want to hear from the constituents in the district, and I want to represent them. That is my goal. I don't have an agenda, and I want to do what is best for our district and for the people who live here. It may not be quite fair, but I was going to bring this up anyway. As far as my opponent being interested in universal health care, I just have to mention that that is something that I am not interested in. I do want people to have access to health care. It is a core service in our state, and that's what Medicaid is for. Medicare is not on the chopping block, to my knowledge. Unless somebody knows something that I don't, but I do believe that is not at risk. That Medicaid is the area of discussion, and that has to do with some work requirements, as far as I understand. But again, that is the place where people can get health care when they need it, and I do think that we need to continue that in the state of Minnesota. That is a significant portion of our budget as well, and that is important. So with that, I think those are my final thoughts. And again, my website is ruthbittnermn.com. And for those of you watching may not know, our district here is 34B, and that's Brooklyn Park, Coon Rapids, and Champlin. We are just bordering the Mississippi River. So thank you very much.
Thank you both very much for your time. I encourage you to use this video in your campaigns any way you would like. Forward it to anyone you would like once it's up on my YouTube channel, which will be very, very soon. And for the viewers out there, if you have any questions for these candidates, I'm sure they're open to those through their websites, and they have ways to be contacted there. If you're interested in hearing more podcasts like this, the Extremely Non-Extreme podcast and the Principle-Based Politics blog, which I publish frequently, both things can be attained through my website, which is principlebasedpolitics.org. You can go there and sign up, and I will email you links every time I publish a new blog and a new website. So until episode 8 comes down the road soon, this will be it for tonight, and thank you all very much.